A few years ago in December, I got my picture taken with Santa for photo shoots. I got the money from them, whilst everyone else sorted out the rest. It paid okay, but I was relieved when it finally came to an end. It was humiliating. There were teenagers that had come in and trashed the place, and kids screaming whilst running around. There was a nice lady there that made it bearable. The guy pretending to be Santa was very enthusiastic about it, and good at what he did. The children absolutely loved it. I admired it. We'd have a cigarette together on breaks, and I curiously asked how he did it. He intensely looked me in the eyes, and I could tell he was half messing and half serious. He replied saying, "Drugs mostly," then continued to stare at me. He then burst out laughing. He was a funny guy, to be honest, so I laughed too. One day, he was a no-show. Everyone was running around panicking. We'd all normally be happy as we could go, but it was almost Christmas, so profits were very high in the days leading up to it. After around 10 minutes, they approached me and said I should play Santa. I was fat, but not old. I really didn't want to, but eventually I gave in. I had to, or I'd be fired. The first child hopped on my lap and asked for a PlayStation 2. I realized I had to go through with it now. A few hours into the job, I looked around and noticed an odd, old-looking man sitting in the cafe. He had leathery-looking skin. He was looking at me. It was evident he'd been in some fights in his life by the scars upon his cheeks. He was just full-on staring, looking annoyed. I thought he'd go away, so tried to carry on, but he just stayed there, staring. I wanted to tell security, but if he found out, he'd probably attack me when I went outside. I knew he was waiting for me. I could just tell by the way he sat there, still staring. Eventually, it was time for a break, so I walked quickly off site. He gets up, I run. I decided to go into the public toilet that was on my right side and hide in a cubicle. It wasn't long before the guy slams open the bathroom door and runs inside, slightly panting. I don't dare move, as I had bells on my Santa suit and he'd hear them and know I was hiding there. My outfit wasn't easy to hide with my black boots and red clothing. The man could see my trousers underneath the door and kicked it open. He threw me against the wall and grabbed my collar. He was in his early 40s. He wanted some money that I apparently owed him, but I had no idea who this guy was. This is the first time I'd ever seen him. Why would he want money? I don't like to borrow money of people. I have no idea what you're talking about, I say. I'm scared to death now. What had I done? If someone walked in, they'd surely laugh at a guy pinning Santa up against the wall. He pulls my mask off and is about to punch me, but instead he steps backwards and lets go. Where's the other Santa? He looks worried now. He tells me not to move as he makes a phone call. He was being cryptic with his words and I was stood there, panicked. He is pacing back and forth now, but he finally ends the call. He looks up and smiles at me with missing teeth. What he said has always stuck with me. "Sorry, wrong Santa, have a Merry Christmas." Then he left. I was confused. The rest of my shift I was nervous and my boss told me off as I wasn't smiling. Later on I realized the other Santa really was on drugs and I almost got killed for his debt.